Hey guys, I'm Sabrina Shutters with SGTV News 4, and I'm here with George Wingard, University of South Carolina archaeologist. He's here to talk about two of his documentaries that landed a spot in the International Film Festival and just how the USC Archaeology Program is growing overall. Thank you, Mr. Wingard, for joining me today. Well, can you discuss your experience as a University of South Carolina archaeologist?
Yeah, thank you for having me today. I work on the Savannah River Archaeological Research Program, which is a division of the South Carolina Institute of Archaeology and Anthropology located here on campus. Our office is on the Savannah River site, which is it's so large it straddles Aiken, Barnwell, and Allendale counties, 300 square miles, 210,000 acres. And the Savannah River Archaeological Research Program's job is to protect the cultural resources. We're a direct contractor with the Department of Energy, and there's nearly 12,000 years worth of history on the Savannah River site, and that's what we do every day.
Well, that's awesome. How has the University of South Carolina Archaeology Program grown as a whole?
Well, the offices are located here in Columbia. They deal with the rest of the state in Charleston. The SRERP, we're on the Savannah River site, and we've been there since 1972. We started with surveys. We became a program in 1978. So most of the archaeology we do is on the Savannah River site. But as a whole in the state, we've got archaeologists that travel all over the state discussing the importance of archaeology, doing public outreach and education.
Awesome. Well, I know you have two documentaries, Discovering Dave and Reconstructing Hawthorne. What are your motivations behind creating those documentaries?
Well, both of them, a little different motivation for both. The first one was, in 2008, the archaeologist on the Savannah River site discovered a busted and broken Dave jar. Now, who exactly was Dave? Dave was a slave from Edgefield, born about 1800. And he went on in his life to be a well-known potter. And what was really special about Dave was the fact that he could read and write, and he actually wrote on his vessels, on a few of the vessels that he created. He went on to make write verses on them. So at a venue, we actually took the Dave jar that we had discovered, the only one found in an archaeological context, I should say, and we actually took it to a venue. And there were people there that said, I know who Dave is. How much is that jar worth? I want to buy it. Or there were people who said, who is Dave? And I happened to be there with a friend of mine. He was a filmmaker, Mr. Mark Alberton, and he and I discussed it on the drive back and said, we need to make a film discussing Dave, who he was in the context of his life, in the 19th century. And explain to people that he was more than just a jar that you see in museums or private collections.
I gotcha. And you actually have the jar with us today.
I do. Yes, I do.
Can we take a look at it?
Sure.
And you see it's actually missing a handle on its right side. How did that come about?
Exactly how the handle was broken, we do not know. When the piece was found, it had been broken into 18 pieces. It weighs 19 pounds. And as you can see, it's written on it LM, which stands for Lewis Miles. This was the man who owned Dave at the time. April 16th, 1862, and of course it has Dave's signature. It was broken in 18 pieces. It had been buried in the ground, and so we were fortuitous that on a survey, we found this particular jar. And since then, we travel around with it. We visit schools. We do public education with the jar to explain Dave's life, but also, this is a great ambassador for the importance of archaeology. I mean, this is a pretty amazing story to find something like this in the ground.
That is spectacular. So I know both of your documentaries actually ended up in an international film festival. Can you tell us more about that?
Oh, it was great. Both Discovering Dave, Spirit Captured in Clay, and our newest film, Reconstructing Hawthorne. We've been very lucky with them. You submit them to film festivals. Sometime you get in, sometime you don't. But we've been lucky. Reconstructing Hawthorne, we just released it earlier this year. It's already been in 2 festivals. We won Audience Favorite in one of our festivals. For Dave, we've traveled back and forth across the country. We were at the Langston Hughes Film Festival, San Diego Black Film Festival. We were at the Archaeology Channel Film Festival, and out of 128 films, we actually won Most Inspirational. So it's great to go to these festivals. You meet other filmmakers. You see these extraordinary stories they're telling, but we actually get to share our story with a wider audience than just here locally.
That's awesome how it spread information all over the country. Well, any other comments on how the university's archaeology program is going to grow, or what can we see from it?
Oh, you know, the research is out there today is pretty phenomenal. You know, in our office we have 10 individuals up here on campus. I believe there's about 15 individuals. So you know, all of us go out. We do research. We love sharing. You know what we do. The technology is amazing too. You know, you have ground penetrating radar and LiDAR and GIS. You know, is a new technology that we use quite a bit. So there's always going to be ground truthing. That is to say, we're always going to put a shovel in the ground. But you know, these new technologies where you bring in the computers is pretty amazing also to help tell the story.
That technology rapidly growing is really, really great for what's going on with archaeology. And I just wanted to thank you so much for joining me today, Mr. Wingard.
Thank you so very much for having me.